What up, what up, what up? Buenos dias. It's your boy Dwell, aka Mr. J, coming at you sideways with another vlog, another video. I'm just chilling. I got some time to spare. It's the end of the year week, the week where the year ends. And, I'm going to keep pushing and try to throw some videos. Like I said, it's been slow this past month at work. So I'm pushing and pushing and pushing. I got the time. I got this cup right here. I just came back from Grajenal. My tia made these in Mexico. She let me have it. This is the iglesia in the rancho, El Grajenal, where my parents were born. And I've been making some videos in regards to that, in regards to that. I know I want to talk about it a little bit. First of all, Merry Christmas once again. I believe Christmas is the whole year. If you know what Christmas really means, Christmas is the whole year. It's not just one day. So I still want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and hopefully everybody had a good time with their families, and may God bless you for the days to come. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this because maybe a lot of the people, a lot of the raza especially, but not just raza, a lot of people, different colors, there's a lot of immigrants in this nation, in the Gran Estados Unidos. And I've been making videos in regards to kind of in the same relation, but I want to talk about it because, like I said, I made a video that about me I came back from Grajenal and my opinion on that. And then yesterday I made another video in regards to kind of me just talking and talking and talking. But I came to it, because I'm first generation. I'm first generation American here, Mexican American, Chicano, however you want to look at it. I'm Mexicano, sea lo que sea. At the end of the day, my parents came here as immigrants. I still have my mom, gracias a Dios. My dad se nos fue hace más de 10 años atrás ya. But in reality, what I don't know if, like, now that I'm getting older, I see things differently, and finally I'm starting to see like all this, like maybe I've seen it as a kid, but now that I'm older, now that have my own things going on, it's like, okay, now I'm starting to see things for what they really were. Like I said, I went to Grajenal, ambulancias. I went to Grajenal. It's a little pueblito where my parents are from, and I spent about 10 days over there recently, and I made a video on that. I'm not gonna go too deep on that, but in reality, like like I come from a family. I come from poor families. My family's always been poor. Gracias a Dios, I'm in the position I am right now. Gracias to my parents that they did what they could. They did what they had to. They did what as much as possible to raise me and my sister. But this video, pretty much, I want to call it breaking the chain. Breaking the chain. Why? Because like I said, I'm first generation. I come from a family, a poor and humble family. A family, my mom and my dad, God-fearing family. They tried their best to raise us. They tried their best to give us what they could, and the more I left my mom and my dad's house pretty much at 18 years old. Maybe at 16, I was already out and about working. I still live with them, but I never spent time at home like since I was 16 because I was out doing my thing. I was working. And even at a younger age, I was already vago. But I can say at 16 because that's when I started making money, working, school, and partying and hanging out with friends. I did all that. Busy guy. But the thing is, I come from a family where it's like they couldn't read. You know what I mean? They didn't have schooling. My mom and her family, they come from poor families, immigrant families. They came, well, not their families. My mom is an immigrant, but they come from a rancho where it was poor over there, and still poor over there. It's different now because a lot of people made their lives here and invest money over there. So in that aspect is different, but lifestyle in Mexico's different. But my family came here as immigrants. You know, my mom lost her family at a young age, at a very young age. She was left alone, and same for my dad. You know, so they carry. I realize, you know, they I didn't grow up with them, but I'm starting to realize they carried a lot of trauma with them their whole life. You know, my dad actually had other kids with before my mom with another lady, and it didn't work out. And like always trying to hustle, live check by check. You know, trying. My dad would try to do things. He was a smart man, but for some reason there was always something holding him down. You know, my dad would always drink también. He was always drinking. As much as hard as he tried, he would it would be hard for him to achieve what he wanted, what he dreamed of. You know, he was a man that wanted things, but for some reason it just never worked out for him. Never. He had a house, and he lost it. He lost he the first house he bought. I remember that. He had to sell it because he couldn't afford it. But luckily he sold it and he made some money off that. But the thing is, he was never educated with money. You know what I mean? So what he did was he bought a second house. He bought a second house, but since he was an immigrant and he didn't have credit, he had people sign for him, you know, friends. Luckily, gracias a Dios, he had friends. You know, my dad had a lot of friends. He made a lot of friends in his lifetime. So gracias a Dios, he had some people sign for him, papers, co-signers. But one of the co-signers eventually tried to buy his own house, and he went at it with my dad, and my dad didn't really know how to handle the situation in the right way. My dad actually wanted to fight him and whatnot. I remember that day. But instead of coming at it legally or something, or calling a lawyer, my dad didn't know how to do none of that stuff. So eventually he had to sell that house too, just so he won't have problems with that guy. And then he made some money off that house. But then, you know, like I said, he doesn't have money. He doesn't know how to. He wasn't a man that handled money. So that for a poor man, whatever money he got, I don't know, kind of you know, like it's a surprise. I'm not saying that he did bad with it, but at the same time, you know, his lifestyle no tenía la educación. Not to talk bad on my dad. I mean, he tried very hard. I'm just saying that, and there's more to it, but I just think it was a chain system, a lifestyle that he had that también no lo dejaba break free because of certain things in his own mind. Eventually, he bought another house and he lost that house. He lost that house, dude, because he le entró a un restaurant without knowing what a restaurant business takes. And at the end of the day, it was a bad deal. He lost the restaurant and he lost his house. But at that time, I was already kind of moved out. My mom también, you know, my mom is a good lady, God-fearing lady. But her mindset is just in God, because that's all she knows. You know, she comes from a poor and lonely life. She got raised with her own family, with her sister, with her older sister, which she calls her mom, and I've talked about this in other videos. So no education, came here poor. Luckily, she did have a few jobs here and there, but nothing major, just like regular minimum wage jobs. Struggled. Gracias a Dios, for some reason, they tried their best. Y gracias a Dios, we never had that to struggle like that. You know, we did move around a lot growing up. We did move around a lot. I stayed in garages, stayed in rooms, stayed in living rooms for many years. You know, even after we bought houses, we were always hopping around, but we never really struggled with clothes. We never had the best stuff, but we never needed clothes, because at the end, my dad always worked in construction, good times and bad times. But he always struggled to really buy what he wanted to buy for all of us. But you know, I always thank God for them. At the end, all they all they put in my head is work, 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 and my mom put in my head God, God, God. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm stuck in those chains too. You know, not to talk bad. I've tried to handle my own thing. I do my own thing, but at the end, you know, what can you say? We didn't. I didn't grow up with lavish lifestyle, with lavish spoon. You know what I mean? And my mentality's always been like that too. As long as we have food and and clothes on our back and a roof, even if it's if it's in a garage, we're good. Obviously, I don't want that for my daughter. It hasn't been like that for my daughter, but we have managed to one way or another make it happen, make it work. Um, but in reality, it's different. Like what I'm trying to say is, I feel like sometimes we carry those chains. We carry those chains with us because that's what we saw growing up, and that's all we know. You know, we don't know what it is to really have money. We don't know how it is to really get money. We don't really know what it is to go to school because a lot of these stuff is kind of like a taboo. We're grown to where it's like you don't need, even in the environment we're in, it's like we don't want to go to school. We don't want to educate our mind. We don't want none of that. Like even in the environment in the city you grew up with, there's chains everywhere. And I feel like I'm pretty sure a lot of us go through that, or a lot of us haven't realized we got chains all over us, spiritual chains or however you want to call it. But a lot of us prefer getting high. I prefer drinking some beer, going to the bar instead of going to church, instead of going to school. And I'm not saying everybody, because but there's a lot. There's a lot of people, and for some reason I fell in that category at a young age where and as I said, it was my dad did teach me to work, but he could only offer so much. You know, he could only do so much. At the end, he just had to let me go. My mom had to let me go and do my own and venture out. And gracias a Dios, I've learned a lot, but it's still, now I see like, man, you know, that's why it's so hard for us to come up. That's why it's so hard for us to do our thing, because we never really had that motivation, that drive, that someone teaching us, guiding us. Like I said, on top of that, I've seen some guys that struggle, but like I said, my parents never had their parents, so they didn't really know how. They didn't grow up with a family in reality, and they tried giving that to us, and they did, but at the same time, we're still kind of suppressed to growing our mind. And I've been realizing that, contemplating that, not in a bad way. I'm not trying to have this ain't a sad video or nothing like that. It's just like I want us to start as a raza, as a community, to teach our kids that, because I have a lot of friends that are, their kids are probably gonna grow up with that same mentality, that chain that we carry. Who knows if my daughter's gonna carry that chain, and that's something I don't want. Something I want her to elevate. And I've told her, you know what, I've gone to school and I can help you. So eventually, you know, I know a little bit more than what my dad knew. My dad had heart, you know, which is very good. But at the end of the day, I think we also need to learn how to move in certain situations. My dad was a street guy, and my mom is like a typical Mexican lady that she remarried again, but you know she the man, gracias a Dios, the man raises la cuida, you know, gracias a Dios to that. She doesn't need to work because the man makes okay money, but you know that's her mindset, you know, getting it's just what it seems like. That's her mindset, because she's a ranchera from Mexico, you know, old school type where the man has to raise them. And that's good. You know, if I could have done that for my wife, I would have. Luckily, pues no pude. So she works, which is good too, and blah, 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 etc., etc. She does her thing, which is okay. I don't have nothing against it. But if I could have done that, I would have. But it's hard, you know. I'm trying to start my business, and not having that guidance from no one. I got guidance for one man, from a white man. Pretty much, he helped me out a little bit and sparked up a little bit in my mind for real. So if it weren't for him, um, I wouldn't know how to idea what business is because of him. It was a white man, an old man. I don't even know where he's at right now. He became a good friend of mine, but he started struggling. He started struggling. That's another story, but hopefully he's okay. His name is Michael Saito. Gracias a Dios for him, and in the form he blessed me. It was a white man that blessed me. So gracias a Dios for him, and hopefully my prayers go out to him. And if anybody watching this video knows who Michael Saito is, say your prayer out for him because I don't know where he's at right now. But yeah, this video I just wanted to make it so we could realize that we can break chains. We can break chains. Maybe our fathers were they didn't know no better. I realized they don't know no better. They come from a different land, trying to make it in this land, not knowing the language, not having school, not knowing not knowing how to move around, not knowing how to and that's heavy, that's heavy. Our parents, all they can do, or they can try, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of chances they're gonna fail. There's a lot of chances they're gonna make mistakes because I realized, I'm like, man, coming back from Mexico, I realized I forgot my parents. I know they came from Mexico, but I'm like, they came not knowing anything. Not, Americans, they're already established here, and obviously they go to school and they pass that on to their kids. But in Mexico, it's different. These people come pretty much blind, and they try to give us what they can, and at the end of the day, they only know what they know. But sometimes it's like it's hard for me too, because my dad passed away from drinking a lot, and it's like I drink. It's in my blood, and those mentalities also stay with us because we see that, and it's like we gotta break chains, man. We gotta break chains. We gotta teach our kids. We gotta show our kids that there's a better future. And I know we all try that. But at the end of the day, I see a lot of people in jail, coming out of jail, and we shouldn't do that to our parents. I realized, I was actually today in the morning, I realized like my parents came here for a better future, and I could have messed that up. Like it's sad. Like I realized I could have been in jail for a long time for certain things, or I could have headed that route. I could have been dead. And it's like I would have wasted my family's life, their sacrifice. The little they have given me, which is a lot in reality, could have gone down the drain. And a lot of us have done that to our parents. Why? Because, and it's not our parents' fault. They try their best, and we need to break those chains. We need to elevate our mindset, our thoughts, because it's no good. We need to educate, go to school. And if us as first generations have messed up a lot, because I know a lot of my friends are in jails, a lot of my friends are doing drugs, a lot of my old friends, they lost their ways, and in reality, it was never their parents' fault. Maybe it was, but at the same time, it's like they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what to expect right here. But it's up to us, ya que nosotros sabemos poquito. We went to school a little bit here, even if you dropped out, even if you it's up to us to start teaching our kids how to move in a different way, break those chains, break those cycles, because there's too many of us doing that. Too many of us have done that. Even like the gang lifestyle. Why do we teach that? Why do we promote it? You lived it, but it's not good for our community. It's not good for our people. At the end of the day, it is part of the cultura. I've heard all that is part of the Aztec killing each other. It's just part in our blood already, but not necessarily, not in reality. we can change that. We can do different, you know. We can go to church. There's nothing wrong with that. We can go to school. There's nothing wrong with that. Motivate ourselves, motivate our families, work out, you know, instead of drinking, eating junk food, and let's work out. Let's go for a run, go for a walk. Uh, Instead of always listening to rap music, listen to something else, something positive that's gonna feed your mind, because at the end, rap is cool, but it's poison también. In reality, think about it. The majority of rap, especially nowadays, is just poison to your mind, poison to your head. And like they say, maybe that's what they want to do to us. They don't want us to come up, but that's up to us. We now, gracias a Dios, we live in a free country. Our parents came to this country, and we have the opportunity, whether we believe it or not, to make a difference, to make a choice, to make a stand. You go to Mexico, and it's not like that over there. It's a free country, but it ain't like that over there. Over there, you're gonna be doing what you're doing for the rest of your life. Right here, you can move around, whether you fail or not. You can move around one way or another, and that's what mentality we gotta start teaching our kids. The future. We don't want to be left behind. Let's break these chains. Let's keep moving. Let's keep grinding, and spread love, not hate. Peace.